Y'all know the name.
What's going on, guys? My name is Martinho and welcome back to Football Manager 2017. So, in our previous episode, Premier League football returned to Ellen Road for the first time in about a decade, and we started off with a brilliant 3-0 win over former champions Leicester City, Larsson, Mbappe and Wood getting on the score sheet, and that left us in third place once the episode had finished. But given that we've got a new format for doing episodes now, there have been 3 games that have happened between then and now. So I'm going to jump into some highlights with you. So our second game saw us face Bournemouth away, and we didn't do too well. We went behind about just over 5 minutes before half time. Toffee bagged a goal after we were caught on the break. In the second half we improved a little bit, and that culminated in Chris Wood bagging his second goal of the season from a Jordan Larsson assist. But the lead didn't last very long, as 6 minutes later we were behind again. Toffee bagging his second goal of the game from about 20 yards, nothing that Marco Silvestri could do. And from that point the game sort of petered out, and we were consigned to a 2-1 defeat. Next up, we hosted Manchester City in what was going to be our toughest game of the season so far. And it didn't start too well. Kenneth Amoru conceded a penalty which Fernandinho duly dispatched after about 20 minutes. But the lead didn't last too long for Manchester City, as roughly 7 minutes later, Kylian Mbappe bagged his second goal of the season thanks to a very, very good through ball from Louis Schaub. But again, it was Manchester City. They were always going to be pushing as hard, and new £74 million signing Robert Lewandowski put them ahead, just ahead of half time. The second half we did improve. We did have a couple of chances, the best of which came about 9 minutes from time. Pontus Jansson rattling the crossbar from a Xavi free kick, but again we just couldn't break them down. We just couldn't find that killer ball, and it ended 2-1, and we faced back-to-back defeats. Next up though, attention turned to the League Cup second round, where we drew Brighton, and we ran out winners by 2-0. Louis Schaub bagging his first goal for the club just on the brink of half time, and then 5 minutes after the restart, Jordan Larsson bagged his second goal for the club, and the game, it was never really in doubt. They never really showed much going forward, and we just had complete control. Would have liked to have won by more, but you know, a win is a win, and it puts us into the next round. So before we move on to the today's live com game, which is a home tie against Everton, there has been some news on the transfer front. Starting off, there has been 2 new staff members join. Firstly, Leo Pakovic joins as one of our goalkeeping coaches. He replaced Daryl Flahaven, who I mentioned in the last episode I was probably looking to move on, and we managed to get a deal done for this guy. 48 years old, Uruguayan, and he's going to complement Victor Valdez very, very well. The other one was Alan McFerrin. I've been looking for an under 23 physio for most of the summer because we didn't have one, and now we do, so that's going to help us moving forward. But also, in terms of the team, there have been 2 new transfers. The first one is this guy, Paul Lopez. He joined on a £1.4 million deal from Espanyol. Looks very, very good. 22 years old, very talented. Sort of high wages considering it was a very low transfer fee. But I think we definitely got a player on our hands here. And he hasn't started any games yet. He joined just ahead of the Bournemouth game, I think it was. And yeah, not started yet. So I'm looking to possibly give him a run out in the League Cup tie that we've got coming up in a couple of games' time. The other one was Cole De Silva. He was released from Chelsea at the end of last season, and I gave him a trial. He didn't do too badly. Again, he's 18 years old. He can play either left or right back, and he's 2-footed. So I decided to take a leap of faith with this one, and just give him a go and see what he could do. And you know, like I said, 18 years of age. He's got a 3-year contract. We'll see what happens. I'm not saying yay or nay on this. Like I'm putting too much pressure on it. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But there's also been some outgoings as well, and despite my frustration at trying to get rid of players, I did manage to move a few people on, albeit on loan. So Cooper, Mackay, Irwin, Apia, Spence, Labiad, Taiwo and Antonsen have all left on season-long loans. I would have liked to have got him out on permanent deals, but again, nobody wanted to put their money where their mouth was. And eventually it just got to a point where I just wanted to kind of get a little bit, even if it was just a small amount of their wages off the wage bill, so I could use it to potentially bring in other players. And that's something I'm actively pursuing at this point, because I've made a £4 million offer for Danny Ings. He's on the transfer list. He hasn't played. He's currently got a bit of an injury. It's just a damaged heel, which isn't too serious. It's going to be a few days for that to heal up. So I put in a tentative £4 million offer. I'm still waiting to hear from him. It's been, I think I made this offer just after the Bournemouth game, so there's been 2 games that have happened since then. So still no word. It's probably going to be a case that it goes down to deadline day, and there'll be a lot of toing and froing between ourselves and the Liverpool board. I've also offered trials to John Obi Mikel and Yaya Toure. A few people have said, coach-wise anyway, that there's a lack of depth in terms of quality in the midfield. I don't believe it, but the coaches do, so it's something I might look to address. The one I'm probably looking at is John Obi Mikel, but I am wary with both Mikel and Yaya Toure, as they've come off pretty big deals from Chelsea and Manchester City. I'm wary of what they might ask for. So Mikel probably will ask for more, but he's younger, and Toure, even though he's not over the hill, he's still got very, very good stats. He could definitely do a job for us. Again, I've got to be wary, because if I get the Danny Ings deal done, and he's probably going to ask for at least 50 grand a week, it probably won't leave me with any wiggle room to kind of make either of these deals happen. I've also offered trials to Liam Kelly, an attacking midfielder. Enej Jelenic, he is a winger who can play on either side, preferably the right. I've also offered Isaac Buckley-Ricketts a trial, but again, this is probably he's 19 years of age, but again, we'll see. It's just a trial. We'll see what happens. If he impresses me, then he may get a deal, and he may get an opportunity to impress further. And I also had an offer in for this guy, Andreas Andreas. Yeah, I had an offer in for this guy, 350k, because it was relatively cheap. And I figured, considering he was only on 1,400 a week in wages, I thought I could probably get a deal done here. It'd be kind of cheap. He wanted 60 grand a week, so that was a no, a very firm no. And it was one of those where the agents locked it out, and I couldn't change it. And well, you know, that just petered out. I mean, look, 13 appearances, 8 goals, 3 assists, 3 man of the match. It looks like he could be a player from just looking at that. But again, once the deal fell through, I just kind of just stopped scouting him so I could use the scouts elsewhere. Okay, so now we're going to move on to today's game, which sees us face Everton, who are down in 16th. We ourselves were in 14th after our first 3 games. We've both got 3 points, won 1, lost 2. But we've scored 4, they've already scored 2, and we've conceded 4, and they've conceded 5, sorry. So, given that it's a home game, I'm confident going into this. However, there has been one enforced change from the team which beat Brighton, and that is Kenneth Omoru. He has departed quite early. I wasn't expecting him to go as early as he did for international duty with Nigeria, so it means he's unavailable. Kyle Bartley comes in to replace him, which pretty much makes it a case of it's our number 1 defence from last season as well. This was the defence, the goalkeeper and defence, which played out most of last season. Xavi came in after the Manchester City game. He did very well against Brighton, but he came in after the Manchester City game because DeMarco didn't do particularly well. But apart from that, there's no more changes. Everything else remains the same. Bridcut, Hurricane, Mbappe, Schaub, Wood and Larson remain in the more forward positions. So yeah, Leeds versus Everton. I'm going to jump into the game and I'll see you over there. So here we go then. Leeds versus Everton at Ellen Road. And despite us being at home, Everton are the favourites. They're evens favourites while we're at 11-5. But it's going to be a tight game as Everton get us underway with what I hope is just a very, very, pointless opening highlight. Unless it's for us, of course, is Wood and loses out to Barkley. And that's that. So 4 minutes gone and we've got our first proper highlight of the game. Here's Jansen going to Bartley. Long ball up looking for Chris Wood. Finds him. Here's Jordan Larson with a shot. Ooh, and that's not far away. So it's another highlight for us. Here's Xavi with a free kick. Finds Schaub. Ball looking out wide to Larson. There's the crossing. Gets to the back post. Larson, Wood. Oh, and it's right at the keeper. And Everton escape, and now they're trying to catch us on the break. Lukaku to Morales. We're all over the shop. There's a cross in. And it's cleared just about. Only as far as Gibson, however. There's McCarthy. Barkley. Back to Gibson. Just playing it around us. Frustratingly playing it around us. Here's Morales. He's going to have a shot from distance. He is. And Silvestri makes a good save. I think that was possibly going wide, but good save nonetheless. And now Everton have a corner with 20 minutes gone. Here's Baines. Whips it in. And it's cleared. And now maybe we can break. Here's Schaub. Now he just trips over his own shoelaces. Good job. Okay, so it's another highlight here for us potentially. Here's Bartley. Bridcut. Long ball looking for. I don't know what he was trying to do with that. What were you trying to do with that? Here's McCarthy. Hurricane gets up and wins it. Here's Mbappe. With the ball looking for Wood, which Jagielka cuts out. Bridcut. Lovely ball over the top from Mbappe. Can he get a cross in? He can, and Schaub at the back post, and we've got the lead. Louis Schaub with his second in 2 games, and Mbappe with a lovely cross. And we're 1-0 up. So Hurricane with an absolute brilliant ball over the top. Mbappe burns Baines for pace. Lovely touch. And he just fires it across the face of goal. Keeper probably should have caught that, but I'm not bothered. Schaub at the back post. And we're 1-0 up with 25 minutes gone. Come on. So, we're back on it straight away almost. Here's Janssen. Schaub goes to the middle for Hurricane. Another long ball over the top. Looking for the same thing again. Here's Mbappe with a cross in. Larsen, and it's 2-0. Straight from the restart. And Mbappe provides once again, this time for Larsen. So it's almost a carbon copy, really. Hurricane's long ball over the top. Mbappe's got the pace to get there ahead of Baines. First time cross, and this time it's at the near post. Jordan Larsen took a slight deflection, but it was heading in anyway. Leeds 2, Everton 0, and we are on our way. So that's the end of the first half, and we have been very, very good value for money. Mbappe has been absolutely brilliant. Hurricane's been spraying balls around. We're 2-0 up. I don't want to get complacent though, because that's something I'm very, very wary of. I just want them to just keep their focus and remember who we're playing, because Everton, they've got some very good players. Barkley, Morales, Lukaku, they can all destroy a team. So, I'm not going to say anything else to him. Pontus Jansson's having a good game. Mbappe, obviously. Schaub, Larsen. I'm not going to think about making changes just yet. And if I do, it's probably going to be one of the centre midfielders, because they're both on a yellow and we don't want them getting sent off. But so far, so good. And let's get the second half underway. And it's ourselves who get things kicked off. Hopefully kicking us off to a third goal. Here's Hurricane with a long ball over the top. And Schaub wins the header, but there's no one in there. So, barring the opening highlight, there's not really been anything happening. So I'm going to make some changes. So I'm going to bring Hurricane off for Bridcut, because he's looking kind of tired. And Chris Wood's not really had a good game, and he's looking a little bit tired as well. So I'm going to bring Kemal Roof in, and I'm going to play Kemal Roof as a... I might try him as a complete forward. I'll see what that does. See if that can work. But apart from that, I think I'll probably leave it at that. Possibly Berardi might come off and make way. But yeah, like I said, apart from that, or I might bring Ricky on just so I can change up Bridcut. So if I can bring Bridcut out and put Schaub in the middle, because supposedly, from what the coach is telling me, he can play there quite well. I might do that. Shall I do that now? We've got 50... No, I'll leave it another 5 minutes and we'll see what happens. So, they're just Poyet and Roof coming on to replace Hurricane and Wood. Okay, so I've left it a little bit longer because nothing else has been happening. So I'm going to bring Bridcut off for Federico Ricky. And Ricky is going to switch with Schaub. So Schaub is going to go in and he's going to play as... We'll play him... it's a tough one, I'm not sure. I think I'll play him as a roaming playmaker. Just let him roam around. and I'm going to switch you up and play you as a ball-winning midfielder. So that's what we'll do from there. We've got about 5-6 minutes left, so hopefully we can hold out and we can bag win number 2 of the season. Okay, so we're pretty much at the end of it. It's a goal kick, and there we go. Massive win for ourselves, 2-0. Everton didn't really offer much going forward. There wasn't really much that we had to contend with, and like I said, the 2 goals we got were near enough carbon copies of each other. And Mbappe played very, very well, but it was Carl Bartley who got man of the match. He came in, as I said, to replace Amoru and done very well, so Amoru might find it a bit difficult to get his place back. But yeah, overall, brilliant win and very nice victory. I think I can say that. I think I'll just signal out special praise for these 3, because they were very, very good. Well, there we go. So that sees us move up to 8th position in the table with 6 points, just behind Tottenham. Everton dropped to 17th. As you can see on the basis of it, they had more possession. It was a kind of an even game, barring the possession, which there was a little bit of a swing there. But when the chances came, we took them. Mbappe was just absolutely brilliant, and hopefully that could be a nice theme going on. Hurry Hayne over the top. Mbappe crosses. Wood, Schaub, Larson. Someone scores the goal. But yeah, so let's get out of this and take a look at the schedule. So I think the next game we're going to be coming back to is, I think it's going to be Chelsea away. I think that's what I want to do. We'll do Chelsea away. So there's going to be Hull City, QPR and Aston Villa in the middle of those, in the middle of these 2 games, the Everton and the Chelsea game. So yeah, we'll come back and we'll do the Chelsea game. But that is the end of today's episode. So thank everybody so much for watching. If you did enjoy the episode, you would like to see more of my Football Manager adventure, then please go ahead, hit that like button. You're not going to break it. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. If you're new to the series, there is a link in the description to the playlist. You can start it from the very beginning, from our lowly days in the Championship, right up to now, being 8th in the Premier League. But again, thank you for watching. Stay cool. And as always, I will catch you on the flip side, where next time we face the Flash Cockney scumbags of Chelsea. Peace!